Good morning, everyone, and welcome to ModGolf Live. I am your host, Colin Weston, and I am joining you from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where today we are celebrating Thanksgiving. All our American friends are probably wondering, Thanksgiving, isn't that in November here, last Thursday in November? But I know we're a little different up here in Canada. So yes, Thanksgiving is today, celebrated on the Monday. And yeah, we're still going to do a live show here today. We're going to keep on going here every single Monday as we do. Yeah, before we get started here, well, I see my guest has finally joined me here. We had a little technical mix-up here, but we managed to straighten that out here because I can see him now off stage here, who I will bring on in just a moment here. And that guest today is Aboo Tayub. And Aboo is the CEO of Golf Business Technology. And I'm very excited to start to collaborate and do some things with them. He's out of the UK. I'm over here in Canada, so we got all the time zones covered here. So yeah, I'm going to bring Aboo on in a moment here. We're going to be talking about all the great things that they're doing on innovation, the future of golf, how technology informs the industry, and also the conference they have coming up, the Golf Business Technology Conference coming up in the middle of May of 2025. In Belfast, Ireland, which I'm going to be attending. And we're still figuring out what I'm going to be involved in there. But the hope is that I will be speaking at that conference since I've been doing this ModGolf thing for almost 8 years now, over 200 episodes, talking to a lot of great people, all the entrepreneurs and influencers, disruptors, as you know, in the golf industry. So, I've got a couple of opinions, got a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of background. So I certainly look forward to kind of sharing my insights, not only in golf, but also bringing in my background in architecture, design, sustainability, all those other things, and entrepreneurship. So as we get started, before I bring Aboo on stage here, I'm going to do my usual thing here, and that is my Monday morning musings. What's gone on in the last week or so? Things that have caught my eye, whether they're in golf or just life in general. We don't never get political here, so we're going to stay away from all that stuff. But the one thing I got to mention here on my phone and my feed that I received here this morning with Morning Read and Alphone Sports. That's one of their newsletters that they have here with Morning Read. And the article here is professional golf could learn a lot from the NFL. So reading this article, very interesting. They're talking about what's going on in London and actually in Germany. So how the NFL has just blown up over the last few years in a good way in the UK, in all of Europe, really. And the fan base is growing. And the reason for this is the power of teams, that tribe, that community around and picking your team. And the games have been sold out, I believe, with Tottenham Stadium, over almost 70,000 people, the games there. And they tie this into what can golf learn from that? And this brings back to conversations that I have had over the years, some of the ventures that we have done in the golf space, and that is bringing in that team aspect. I know that Tiger and Rory are starting to do that with what they are doing with their golf concept that they're going to be bringing to life early next year, and that is kind of stadium built with teams with hitting into a big screen, so it's part simulator, and in the middle actually having a green and short game area, so that hybrid. But it's all about the team, and talking about them working with that team model also, but really not being able to kind of accelerate it and push that fast enough to kind of build up the value. And one of the examples we always give is in cricket. And myself, as Canadian, North American, not knowing much about cricket, learned a lot from my business partner and friend who's Australian and absolutely loves cricket. But what they've done over the years and the decades of going from having a 5-day test match, which for North Americans here, I use the analogy or equate it to a baseball game that lasts 5 days that could end in a tie. And if it does, everybody's okay with that. So you can just imagine for kind of fans on the periphery, that's a lot to invest into. So they've reduced the game format down to what's called 50 overs. So it takes one day and then compressing it down into 20, which is about the length of a football game or an NBA or an NFL game. And it's also the team-based format with the Indian Premier League. And the teams there are now valued at billions of dollars, rabid fan base. So golf can learn from that also. So also what the NFL can teach golf. Don't have all the answers for them quite yet, but that team aspect, we know the President's Cup, which I was at a couple of weeks ago in Montreal, and also the Ryder Cup. Those events are just so impactful, and people just love them because you love to cheer for your team, whether it's USA, whether it's the Europeans, or even though it was a bit contrived, I will say, with the international team, everybody cheering INT and having hats that just said INT on them. I didn't buy one of those, even though I guess really I was representing INT, being Canadian. But these are the type of trends and patterns that golf can learn from. Still haven't cracked that nut completely, but I'm quite interested to hear Aboo's opinion on that as far as that team concept. I know that doesn't necessarily have technology inform that, but it definitely can as an underlay and to fuel that. So I've got lots of questions and many more when I bring Aboo on. But the one thing I want to actually say before we do that, hey, here we're live on YouTube here. If you like what you see here with the shows, a couple of things. First, hey, can you subscribe to the channel? We're almost up to 1,000 subscribers, and if we reach that, it's kind of awesome because it unlocks a milestone that we start to monetize the channel a little bit, which just helps me cover some of the production costs. So hey, if you like what we're doing here, please subscribe to the YouTube channel here with ModGolf. And the other piece is actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off on that for a moment here because I've kind of gone on long enough with my musings on this Thanksgiving Monday, and now's the time to bring the man on, the star of the show here with Aboo. Aboo, thank you for joining us on ModGolf Live. How you doing?
Colin, nice to meet you and nice to see you again. How are you doing?
Absolutely, 100%. So you're just on the somewhere around Greater London. Is that where you're located?
I'm actually based in Belfast, actually. So.
Oh, you are? Well, that kind of makes sense why the conference is going to be in your backyard then. See, it's all making sense.
I used to live in London a long time ago for 20 years and moved over here about 7, 8 years ago. My wife is Northern Irish, so we moved over here quite a long, 7, 8 years ago with our children. So lovely part of the world, and but it's very wet out here, so it's always raining. But a beautiful part of the world.
Well, you know what? We're kindred spirits there. I'm looking out the window here in Vancouver, and the rainy season is upon us. It is wet. It is cold. I'm a hardcore golfer. I've got the rain suit and all the stuff, but I won't be going out there today. I'll be staying inside, working on things in the golf industry rather than trying to improve my very mediocre golf game. So we'll have to wait for another day. So it sounds like weather-wise, we're both experiencing the similar thing.
I think you'll fit in very well here. We're not known as fair weather golfers, so we're out whether it's raining or just freezing temperatures or anything like that. So when you come over, it'll actually be quite warm then. So spring actually. So you'll be fine, but you'll still get the odd chance of a shower. There's no guarantee really. So
that's okay. You know what? I seem to play better when the weather's not great anyway. Like last week, a couple of days ago, it was a beautiful sunny day. It was like 75 degrees, so like around 20 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Not a cloud in the sky, no wind, beautiful blue day. And I'm a 16 handicap, and I didn't break 90. So wow. I shot 93. The only thing I had to blame was my very inconsistent swing. There we go. Couldn't blame it on anything else. So yeah, it seems like the weather isn't great. For some reason I'm always shooting like low 80s, mid 80s. It's weird, but that's the way it goes. So okay, enough about my golf game that needs a lot of work. Let's start things off here with golf business technology. So hey, why don't we start this off by why don't you share a little bit about your journey into the golf technology industry and what inspired you to start golf business technology?
Well, I'll give you a bit of a background about people have started calling it GPT now, which I never really wanted, so the abbreviation of it, but so it is, and I'll have to start calling it GPT now as well. But GBT, was born. My background and my partner's backgrounds. We're in news technology platforms, so media platforms, and been in very different industries before we got into golf. But things in transportation like automotive and aviation, and golf really was a passion for us. We love the game. We all play. We just like yourself. We're not great, obviously. We tried to obviously pivot that and look at a gap in the market. Just like your podcast is great. You obviously hit a nail on it, and in terms of delivering for an audience. And we felt that there was, in the B2B space especially, there was a gap. There are a few players out there, but there was a gap to build something really niche and just very, very well done. That's our go-to market strategy, is just to do it really well, and that's what we've done. We started out about 10 years ago. GBT started out in beta format. So for the first 5 years, it was in beta format, and a very, very old, clunky website. I don't know if you even remember it, but it was the startup days, really. And then we started scaling up 5 years ago, and you can see from the types of clients we work with. So it's basically we have a high traffic ratio on the website. For a B2B website, we're just over 50,000 page views a month.
Right.
And that's growing continually, obviously. And subscribers-wise, we have just over 15,000 readers now globally. And the crux of that is in Europe, but North America is growing quite a lot for us at the moment. And but everybody that visits the site, they're on a B2B scale, whether that be equipment to retail to technology and software services for the golf industry, mainly, golf clubs, golf course resorts, golf course operators, but it extends far more than that. And you touched on a few things there, like things like entertainment and simulators and indoor golf, which is huge now. The rise of indoor golf, especially in places like Asia, like in South Korea. I think, from one of the articles I read the other day, I think South Korea has more interest in indoor golf than it does in traditional outdoor golf, even though it has
Absolutely.
just golf courses. So it's blowing up in North America, in Canada, places like Europe. We were getting indoor golf here. Top Golf is big here, and we have new startups, starting up all the time in terms of indoor golf. But that's where we're at, and we our sort of evolution, sort of in our other businesses, have been go-to strategies with either a magazine or a news technology platform, and then we go into a summit or a conference, and then eventually it turns into a trade fair or an exhibition. So and then it splinters off. Things grow out of that eventually. And there's just a gradual evolution that happens with it, and the first step for us is obviously the conference, which is happening next year, and Northern Ireland, Belfast. And the reason we chose that, not because I live here, but which is great. I mean, logistics-wise, it's amazing, but actually the Open takes place here next year, which is a massive deal for Royal Portrush.
Absolutely.
And Northern Ireland as a destination, Ireland as a destination, is amazing. I mean, we have some of the world's greatest courses here. In terms of from a tourism aspect, especially from across the pond, and there's such a great interest in Ireland. There's an affinity with Northern Ireland and Ireland. So I think it just made sense for our first conference to be held in Northern Ireland. And hopefully we'll see. We're looking for it to be an annual thing, and but potentially it held in Europe, the UK, and Ireland. But more on that later on. We don't want to jump the gun too much, because we're still around just under a year, obviously, out there and out to it. So, but yeah, that's where we're at the moment. In terms of what the company's about and what our philosophy is about, really. It's all about any business or technology service that are targeting, golf clubs, golf course operators, indoor golf, entertainment facilities. And you'll know a lot about this because you've interviewed a lot of people in the industry, a lot of entrepreneurs in the industry, and you're quite, you've got a lot of experience, being at the PGA show and from that side of things as well. And we're definitely glad to have you over to come and share some of your knowledge, educate our audience at the same time, but obviously bring that entertainment factor at the same time,
So I'll do my best. I'll do my best. So, hey, before we keep going here, because I do want to dig into the conference, we're going to talk about that for the majority here and pick your brain about some other good things. Do you want to get this up on screen here? So yeah, we are live here, even though people will go back and watch this afterwards, have an opportunity. But of course, I mentioned my guest here is Aboo, and we've got half a dozen people that are joining us here today. So thank you for joining us here on ModGolf Live. So hey, let's make this interactive. Just in chat, if you got any questions, any comments, any burning questions, let's try to keep it within the guardrails of golf here. Don't ask me the meaning of life. Is there a God? I'm not the right person to answer those type of questions here. But well, maybe Aboo is. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out here. But yes, ask us anything about innovation, how it will impact the future of golf. So yeah, please put your questions out here because it makes it more fun. Last week we had a couple people here and putting questions in, even more that we were able to ask, and it just made it just a more rich, vibrant show. So let's keep that going. Believe me, I can sit here and ask questions all day long, and I'm happy to do it and love to do it. But hey, if you're out there joining us here today, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Step up. It's all good. Okay. So, hey, I'm going to bring up over here. So there you go. I've got your website up here. And the other thing I'm going to do here for a second, you have to bear with me here. Not only am I the host, but I'm also the executive producer at the same time here. So there we go. That's not for the conference, but that is, of course, the URL for your website with golfbusinesstechnology.com. Nice and simple here. So why don't we do this? I'm going to kind of scroll through the conference website, and why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, great. So obviously you can see our executive partners, our main sponsors are Top Tracer and the Geo Foundation, because there's going to be that element of entertainment, indoor golf, and obviously driving range technology. And Geo Foundation are a sustainability organization for the world of golf. They represent a lot of golf clubs, and they do a lot of reports. And their CEO, Jonathan Smith, is coming out to the event to talk at the event. So we're going to be doing a lot of sustainability, and obviously you know that area quite well. So hopefully you can get involved too on that, and we'll chat a lot more about that as well. But
right.
Top Tracer, obviously, they have a workshop at the event as well, and they've got a main speaker too, and they've got some great guys coming over that were actually at the Open. So obviously, they have a big presence at the Open. So this last Open that they had obviously their center that was there as well, and they have one of the main guys out from Sweden coming over to do a product launch there for them as well, and to talk more about their products as well. We're also media partnered with Visit Belfast, obviously a tourism body. Visit Belfast are obviously they promote and they support a lot of the conferences, a lot of the business events that happen in the area in terms of Northern Ireland and obviously the wider Belfast area, changing the menu for good. It's a lovely charity that we've on the ground here. It's a local charity that we have down here that anybody that needs more information about that, they can go to our travel page. You can watch a video on that, and you can actually support and donate to that as well. So it's basically supporting the homeless and the hunger situation within Northern Ireland and Belfast, actually, within the local economy as well. So it's a really great charity to be a part of, and I'd really recommend if you get some time, go and have a look at the travel page and have a watch through the video. It's very powerful, and it's something that we're going to be pushing quite hard at the show as well for people to get involved with as well. Visit Belfast will obviously be on hand at the event. They're actually opening up the event as well, so they will be able to give our attendees traveling from further afield, not only from North America and Canada, but from Europe and from the other parts of the UK as well that don't know Northern Ireland that well. They're going to be coming in and helping everybody explore Ireland, Northern Ireland as a destination. So things to do. If you like your Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones is it's in our backyard here. So you'll love that. Castle Ward. You can go to the original locations. You can. There'll be a lot to do in terms of restaurants. If you love your golf, a lot of great golf courses around here as well. We've got. I think it's just over 5 royal golf courses in Northern Ireland, so you'll be able to go get stuck into it, and weather permitting, obviously. Well, if you're not a fair weather golfer, you'll be able to get out there and enjoy what we're doing in terms of our golf courses around Northern Ireland. Going to the workshop sponsors now. I mean, at this stage, obviously we have others that have signed on board, but I can actually give news of another sponsor that has come on board just today. So we have, obviously, I'll talk about NBC Sports next. Everybody knows them, Golf Now, obviously. And,
right.
I don't know if you guys, obviously, any of your audience know this. Obviously, they were originally BRS Golf in Northern Ireland and started up by 2 brothers down here. And then obviously bought over by Golf Now and are rebranded as NBC Sports Next. So we have a great relationship with them already. And they're coming in as one of our workshop main sponsors at the event as well. One of the other sponsors we got in a few weeks ago, Playing More Golf. They're obviously a player in the UK now, and they'll be at the event as well doing a workshop too. And we can just announce now that obviously another one of our other workshop sponsors is a company called Husqvarna, which most of you will probably know. They work in the same space as Toro and John Deere.
Yes.
They're coming on board as well. So their UK and Irish division are coming across to the event, and they're going to be a workshop sponsor, but they will also be a registration sponsor as well. And then there'll be more to come as well. So it's very early days as well. So you'll see more companies come up and get involved within the sponsors list. There'll be things like gold sponsors and silver sponsors and other workshop sponsors as well. And obviously we're looking at having, obviously Colin will be there doing his fireside thing, so we'll obviously probably have a fireside sponsor too at some point. So potentially.
And you got a friend from In Range on there too. Like they're one of the partners that we have with the ModGolf podcast. So you've got Nick and the boys joining you.
Yeah, so I believe Ian is definitely coming, but I'm not sure about the rest of them. I think there is supposed to be one more delegate. I think Nick is coming to it, but we'll have that confirmed at some point. But I don't know if you. I know you've interviewed Nick before, but I know Nick from a past life as well. So
right.
we were friends first before we got into golf. Actually, both of us. So,
interesting.
And we lived in Nick's from South Africa originally, and
that's right.
We sort of hung out in the same circles in London. So our history goes back a long way as well. So. But no, that's where it's at. Obviously, you can see the speakers that are on there as well. So some great speakers now as well at the event. And we've just obviously confirmed a really great speaker from the PGA Tour that's going to be speaking at the event, Devon Fox. So I think you probably saw that as well. But
I did. I've been trying to get Devon on the podcast for literally like 6 years, almost since I started. And she's been so busy bouncing around. So I'll have a great opportunity to actually corner her in a good way. And the things that she does, both in golf and in sport, I definitely want to have her on the podcast. And I think, as you know, also, I do my best to showcase as many women innovators and entrepreneurs and influencers as I possibly can. And I've been looking to have Devon on forever. So I just saw that pop up on LinkedIn there. So that's really great.
Yeah. Well, you can see in terms of, women's golf and impact on that side of things. We've got a great speaker, Tiffany Cherry. She's got such great. I don't know if you know of her, but she's previously worked at Golf Australia. So she's Australian, and she was breaking boundaries as a journalist and a broadcaster. Early on in her career, obviously, and she was, the first. She worked for ESPN, Fox Sports down there as well. She was the first female presenter. Basically, I don't know if you know Aussie rules, but it's similar to Gaelic football and and rugby league almost.
I know it well. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was the face of Fox Sports there. She's a great presenter, and we're very lucky to have her on. And then obviously you can see Director of International Markets, Fiona Hampton from NBC Sports Next, who is going to be, in her own right, a great speaker. She represents, obviously that golf market for NBC Sports Next, and she'll be a great addition to our team as well. There's obviously going to be another second round of speakers as well coming up. So we are looking to potentially, again, if anyone's potentially interested in obviously being a speaker at the event, by all means, obviously, I will leave my information with Colin at the end of the day. But you've got all the websites there. You can go on there, and all our contact details on there, and you can just email us and pitch us your idea and what you're thinking, really, in terms of because we are obviously quite we're selective, at the end of the day, but we want to create the best agenda possible, in terms of not only educating people, the audience at the end of the day. We want to be entertaining at the same time as well, because at the same time, people want to, have come away from this conference not going, it's just another conference we've attended. We want it to be something that people have attended and just want to be blown away by it, at the same time. So by all means, if you guys think you have a great story, or you have a great presentation out there, we'd love to hear about it as well. So that's what in terms of where the conference is at the moment, that's where we're at. So we're still early days at the moment, and building up to it, and I think we still need to talk between you and myself, Colin, about the role and how we can get you, what we're going to be doing exactly, but it's very exciting, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited. I've never actually been to Ireland or Northern Ireland before. My wife actually is half Irish. She was there 2 years ago, so she's definitely looking forward to coming back. And maybe we'll bring her 90-year-old dad, who's Irish, who's never actually been to Ireland. So you may have the whole gang coming over. So you never know what we're going to do. And also, I've had lots of people on LinkedIn that are in the golf industry in Northern Ireland reach out to me saying, hey, not only let's get together for a pint, but come to our golf course. You can stay and we'll play. And I'm thinking, okay, my golf clubs are coming. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Well, you got to obviously taste some of the black stuff when you're over here. So the Guinness as well. So there'll be a lot of Guinness flowing, and I know you probably met Graham and Gareth as well. At other, Gareth Macklin from Obi and Graham as well. So they'll be looking after, as the Northern Irish contingent. They'll be looking after you guys and showing you some of the great pubs around Belfast. So
love it. Well, I got some training in at the President's Cup in Montreal with me and my high school buddies. I think the mandate was to try to drink every pint of Guinness in Montreal every single night. So we had probably too much practice. So we'll see where that goes. Hey, I want to talk about making this interactive here. We've got Jairo here, who I know here in Vancouver. So I know he said this. Hey, have you tried one of those VR golf fields? I know he's a non-golfer, which I love the fact that people that don't play golf still love the fact we talk about entrepreneurship, innovation, the business side of things that they can take away to other aspects of life. So when he talks about VR golf fields, I think he's talking about simulators. So let's get your opinion on this. Do you think it's good or bad for traditional golf?
Talking about the headsets and just VR in general.
I have a feeling like with Golf Plus, I've had them on the podcast before. So I think Jairo's actually talking about the VR headsets with Golf Plus rather than playing in a simulator. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if just to obviously answer Hero's question, I'm pronouncing that right, Hero. On the website, we actually have a speaker from Golf Plus coming to the event. So James Wright, who is the president of Golf Plus, is coming to the event, and potentially other team members as well. So we may have actually that kind of technology on stage and being demoed as well at the same time. But I think it's great, at the same time, because you were talking about Tiger Woods and Rory's venture TGL, and it can only be good for the game at the end of the day. It can only be good to grow the game at the end of the day, because it's bringing in new blood, new demographic to the and people who have never. I mean, we're talking about your latest question here. You said he's not from the world of golf really, and he's interested about this. But this is what it does. It grows the game at the end of the day. And I haven't myself tried one of those VR headsets. I have a friend actually that reviews them for a living, actually, and he has a YouTube channel. But he, in terms of what it's just so realistic. At the end of the day, it's like, it's like you're playing real golf. At the end of the day, and I mean, nothing can replace. For me, I mean, I'm living in Northern Ireland, and obviously getting out on a traditional course, playing traditional golf, nothing can take away from that, and just having the elements and just everything just go against you, and because it's one thing to practice on driving range or at the putting green or even in a simulator like this, but it's completely different going into, a real world environment and doing it, but there is space for both at the end of the day, so I find it does create such an opening in terms of the economy of golf at the end of the day, because it's creating these new sub-industries within golf, and you're talking about before Topgolf, there wasn't anything like that around before that. There's just been an explosion. It's just created a whole different industry at the end of the day, and just growing and growing, with different aspects of golf, I think. So yeah.
And I love with Golf Plus what they've been doing too is as far as that engagement and gamifying it also for certain events, whether it's TPC at Sawgrass with the par 3 with the 16th hole, 16th or 17th hole. I think it's the 16th hole. And then also, of course, with Waste Management, the Phoenix Open with the 16th hole there and the stadium, that they've built that in a VR environment. And then they're having real-time competitions that you can actually tee off at the same time as the pro and compare yourself to how you do. So it's not just the technology itself, like they're understanding a way to, in real time, amplify that fan engagement to make it so that it's a bit of a fun competition. And so they're taking care of that on the entertainment side. And the other one I want your opinion on here, I'm just going to pull this up on screen here. And that is with, and I've seen these guys for a couple of years at the PGA show, and that's with PutView. So talking about with VR, so they have these goggles now that it's more glasses, more like Google Glass or the Apple glasses that you can have. Here you can see the guy wearing them there. That you can go to any practice green or the indoor ones that they have already, and you can actually see and the actual line. I don't know if you've played around with that at the PGA show, or I'd like to get on your thoughts of how technology, not just with PutView here as an example, but technology is being used as an elite level training aid now, a lot with what's going on with AI and being able to work with your swing, or even here with PutView. So what are your thoughts here is how technology is informing the kind of the training and the golf improvement side of the game rather than the entertainment side?
Well, anything that can, enhance your game at the end of the day, all these are at the end of the day training aids, so nothing can replace, your swing, because just like yourself, I'm a novice at this as well. I'm a novice at golf at the end of the day, but it took me years to find my swing, and I don't know about you. I don't know if that's the same thing, but
I'm still looking.
No, I only found it like recently. I'm a terrible golfer, by the way, but there are days where you go, right, I think there's something happening here, like but you're constantly searching for it, at the end of the day. And when it comes to technology, yes, I mean, there are some great technology out there. You talk about wearables, you're talking, just rangefinders, things that have been around for a long time, and but these are things that have massively changed people's games, but nothing can take away from feel at the end of the day, but in terms of the training aids, in terms of things like these stages and the putt view, you're talking about the other things like putt tracks as well, and then we were looking on there. So all of these technologies, they all collaborate. So you can see a client of ours, Foresight, is on there as well. So they do obviously the launch monitors and all of that as well. So and there's so many in the market, things like Repsodo and TrackMan, and InRange has obviously gone down the entertainment side of things, but they're looking at obviously doing other things in training aids and stuff like that, But yes, there is obviously a very, very. You really need to complement it with a coaching program, I find. So having a coach, with the tools, with those training aids, if you're an up-and-coming golfer, or if you're even just starting out, a lot of these things, obviously, nothing takes away from learning from a person.
Yes,
and
I agree.
Agree. Yeah. So, and I found that completely. I mean, I took a couple of lessons and recently, and I was always of the opinion I could learn this, on my own. Watching YouTube videos and trying technology and all of that, and no, he completely changed everything for me.
Yes.
In 4 lessons, I was, well, I'm not great at the moment. I'm still learning. I still have to go out on the golf course and practice everything. And there's some days you just go, "Wow, this is terrible," And some days it works, And
it is a mystery. It's a beautiful mystery.
Yeah, but you just have to learn it, at the end of the day. But training aids, yes, there is definitely a things are growing, and I'm sure you've been to the innovation area at the PGA show, and there's some great stuff that's coming out, all the time, continually, every year. You just go there and you go, wow, how did they think of that? And they've just addressed a problem there, and there's just small ideas, that have just blossomed, But interesting. I wanted to hear more, from on your end. What do you think is the best technology aid that has come out within the last 10 years? Do you use anything yourself, or?
I do. I do use a couple of different things, but it boils down to reinforce your comment there. Having a coach, which I don't have right now, which is one of the reasons I think I'm slipping and falling back into bad habits again. I find using the coaches that combine kind of traditional methodologies and their experience, and based on the observation and the feedback, and then using technology to amplify that, I think is the best combination. I myself, as an architect and a visual designer and a visual learner, I find for me that's getting that feedback that I can see my swing, whether it's a video of myself or getting on the screen there, as far as that type of data, that I find that very helpful. It just reinforces the positive things rather than me guessing and thinking I'm doing certain things. So I definitely agree with you on that. And I've seen at the PGA show, and also my work and just in kind of entrepreneurship and in startup culture across Canada, with many of the things I've done as the founder of Startup Vancouver here. So it's not just in golf, but all across. And I've always seen, I'm sure you see this every day, are people littering your inbox with the greatest new thing, and you should be promoting this or reviewing this or have me on, for your newsletter or your podcast. And quite often you look at these things and say, this is really a solution looking for a problem. It's kind of gimmicky. And I've seen those at the PGA show, and people reach out to me all the time. So yes, that foundational piece of, is there a problem? Is there a pain point? Is there a gap? What are you feeling? And you touched on that a little bit earlier, Aboo, just as far as that. It's like, what's the problem that you're solving? And I've seen a lot of technologies. I'm not going to out anybody here, some of the ones that I've seen, but even ones that have nothing to do with technology that can help grow the game. Is it necessarily improving your golf technique? The one I'm going to mention here, no, so it doesn't quite answer your question that you asked me here. But even at the PGA show, and I've had their founder on the podcast, and I've promoted them because I love what they do, and they've sent up their product, and we've done some short videos on that, and that's with bucket golf. So a couple of guys during COVID, Southern California, in their backyard, nothing else to do, nowhere to go, and they just created this golf format with these buckets, and if you get it in as a hole in one, it's a zero. So or you just got to hit the bucket. So it's easier. It's not that frustrating piece of having to learn to putt and all these other techniques. And you can take it to the beach. You can set up your own courses. And these guys have now sold hundreds of thousands of these units. And does it actually help improve your game? It's because it's got these big oversized clubs. I don't have any in the room with me here, and the big wiffle balls. So it's safe. Kids can play. So it's that nice gateway to the game, kind of like Topgolf is kind of helped to do to grow the game a little bit, to get people on the green grass experience through the funnel. But even examples like that with bucket golf, does it have really anything to do with technology? Almost zero. But what they've actually done here, they've unlocked a new way to create that gateway golf experience for people that maybe have lapsed playing golf, have refused for all the reasons you and I have known for since I got into this game, stumbled into the golf industry more than a decade ago. It's too hard to learn, it's too expensive, it's too remote, it's a bit elitist, takes too long, all those pain points and those hurdles, and solutions like that help to solve that. So yeah, that's a great example. Didn't quite answer your question there, just as far as how it helps me, but I found like some technology, I find overwhelms me a little bit. It's almost like information overload, and I get a little bit paralyzed. But one's a great example, and I can say this because I don't have them as sponsors. They don't pay me to say this. And even with Arccos Golf, with the sensors, when they came out, I've known them since day one, about even before COVID, so about 6 years ago, and had Sal Sayed, the founder and CEO, on the podcast a couple of times. And I just love those sensors now. The fact after 10 rounds, it has enough of a data set that it unlocks what they call Arccos Caddy. So it brings in the GPS in real time, the elevation, the temperature, the wind condition for every single shot. And rather than me going, oh no, I hit my 7-iron 160 yards, I got to use that. It's like, no, you don't. Maybe on the best time that you actually crush it, but on average, you hit that 145. That's a 6-iron. So rather than my ego getting in the way and going, no, this is the club I'm going to use, it's like I use the proper club. And so I find that with Arccos is a great example that I love. So on the course in real time, it doesn't distract or interfere with too much information. Me always looking at my phone is just really quick. I'm able to get that information, and I truly believe that helps me play better. And then it gives me not all the data broken down over all the rounds, or even my last 10 rounds, with those 4 areas. And you and we probably struggle in different areas. Off the tee and short game for me, bad technique and not working at it enough, which I'm doing more now. Those are the 2 areas that I throw away the most strokes. Putting, I'm pretty good. Approach shots, I'm pretty good, just as far as compared to, let's say, a 10 handicap where I want to get to as compared to a 16. So I know full well that my shots lost as compared to gained are off the tee and my short game. So the limited time I have to practice, it's like focus on those 2 areas rather than just bashing out balls at the range. Focus on those 2 bits, which I need to do, and that'll help come down. So that's a great example of technology that I really love. Like I said, completely unpaid. They're just friends of the show. They've been kind enough to send me some sensors. So I'm more than happy to give them a positive shout out here with Arccos.
Good. Yeah, but I completely agree with you. Those Arccos sensors, I didn't have something like that. I worked with ShotScope, with the watch, but they had the sensors as well. So something similar to that, but not as Arccos are on a different scale in terms of what ShotScope are about, I think, but completely different. But I'd be quite interested to try Arccos actually. But yeah.
Well, I'll make an introduction. Perhaps they can hook you up there. So hey, I can keep going on and on and on. I have a very strong feeling, Aboo, that you and I are going to jump on ModGolf Live again, probably a couple of weeks right before the conference in May in Belfast in Northern Ireland. But in the meantime, last question here for people that are in the golf industry, because of course we had Hyro, a friend of mine that I've actually worked with teaching at an entrepreneurship school, not in golf, but the majority of people that love the ModGolf podcast, they are in the golf industry. So here's your chance for a pitch. Why should people get on a plane if they're in North America, in the US or Canada like I am, and spend 2 or 3 days with us in Belfast for the Golf Business Technology Conference, and what the networking potential is for that to finish up?
Well, first of all, you'll get to meet Colin in person, so that's a win right there for everybody. And no, but in all seriousness, Golf Business Technology, we're expecting the conference is going to be expecting just over 250 delegates, and we're known, obviously, Irish hospitality, Northern Irish hospitality, in terms of being in Belfast, what a destination, at the end of the day. And we're expecting, obviously, some great sponsors at the event. There's going to be In-Range, obviously, one of our drink sponsors there. So they put on some great parties. Their pink party is legendary. And just for that, I mean, that's going to be great, And
I'm sold.
Well, sold already, but you'll be able to. And Guinness tastes very different in Northern Ireland, by the way. It's pure and it's original. So you don't know anywhere else, But I think what delegates will come away with, is that education that we're looking, that agenda that we're looking to curate, with yourself, talking away. There are going to be topics such as sustainability, entertainment, operational efficiency at golf clubs and golf course operators, how to better run your golf club and your golf course as a business at the end of the day, because there will be a lot of, general managers, directors of golf, CEOs that will be giving you best practice case study on how they do this at their golf clubs already. And you can see we have obviously one of the VPs of international from Troon coming across as well with the delegation as well. They've got obviously big presence in North America, but he's based. BJ Flanders is based out in the Middle East, in Dubai. So they cover obviously the Middle Eest area and Asia as well. So they'll be talking a lot about that. They'll be talking about what they can bring to people in Europe, and obviously how they've done things at the end of the day. So what are they willing to share with everybody else? What can you guys be doing better? And obviously you get the chance to meet the guy as well at the same time. But obviously we talked about Devin Fox, a real climber in the industry, and a real force, and we're looking at, apart from that, there'll be other speakers that will be coming across as well. And I haven't mentioned all the speakers that are there currently now, but all of them, we've chosen them, handpicked them, because we want to deliver such a great educational experience for everybody, but also we want you guys to be entertained at the end of the day. So if you want to jump on a plane from North America, and I'm sure, Colin, you also have a lot of viewers in Europe as well. So
absolutely,
short distance away, and we will look forward to welcoming you into Belfast and showing you a good 3 days, and looking after with our hospitality in Northern Ireland as well. So. Yep, that's where we're at. And obviously, if you want to find out a bit more about it, go to golfbusinesstechnology.com, or even if you wanted to go to the conference website, it's golfbusinesstechnologyconference.com.
Yes.
And obviously, Colin will share all that with you. But and Colin will obviously be at the event as well, and we'll be doing another ModGolf podcast, as he mentioned, in the lead up to that before he gets over here. But then you can see Colin in person at the show.
Here we go. There we go. So, that's worth the price of admission right there. That is right there. And you also have my good friends, Jay Karen, who I just interviewed 2 days ago. I'm releasing that podcast episode. I've had Jay on 6 years ago on the podcast. So Jay and I have been friends for a while. So he's the CEO of the National Golf Course Association of America, Golf Course Owners Association of America.
I haven't mentioned him. he's our main keynote.
He is. He is. So
So,
Jay is wonderful, great speaker. I know that James Cronk, also from Vancouver here, who's the golf industry guru with Gig, he's going to be joining you too. So he's a great speaker too. So you got a stacked lineup there. Yeah, you and I are gonna have another conversation in the springtime, weeks leading up to the Golf Business Technology Conference. I look forward to that. And you know what? With that, why don't we finish up here for ModGolf Live today? Again, hey, you can see scrolling at the bottom of the screen if you want to listen to any of our previous podcast episodes, almost 200 of them, and all of them are still relevant. Really, the way we do this, like even the one with Jay 6 years ago, it's still great stuff. And we've got them rolling out. We're doing season 16 right now, so you have another 10 or so for the rest of 2024. So, hey, why don't you join us there at www.mod.golf. And as I mentioned, hey, if you can subscribe to the channel here, you will learn and know about all of the videos that we're putting out there, including some of my golf reviews of products from the average golfer. And that's me. So there you go. So, hey, Aboo, why don't we finish up with that? Thanks so much for joining me today on ModGolf Live. And I look forward to seeing you in Belfast and talking to you in the springtime leading up to the conference.
It's great. Thank you, Colin, for having me on. And thanks to the audience as well. Thanks for listening. And any questions, please do reach out to us. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great day. You take care. Bye now.
Bye. Bye.
All right. Why don't you just hang tight there for a sec?